We need to end the whole bloody notion of soups.
Scorched earth. Shock. And all. Blood. And bone. Superheroes are done.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. The boys dropped a brand new Season 5, Episode 8 finale trailer. There's a whole bunch of new footage here and a whole bunch of theories about what's going to be happening, so we will break it all down. There are a lot of storylines that they have to wrap up in the finale, but I'm most expecting them to focus on wrapping up the Butcher versus Homelander plot that they started in the very first season in the first episode. When Butcher says it's time for Soups to die and he pulls out the virus again, it seems like whatever they've done with the virus, it is now complete, the second version that Frenchie was making before he died. Press F to pay respects for Frenchie, justice for Frenchie. There were a couple behind the scenes that they released of a deleted scene of Homelander actually killing him by basically just dragging his finger through his stomach. So that's how Frenchie actually died, is that his wound was exposed to the radiation, causing him to die that much faster, but he would have bled out anyway. Kind of a bummer they didn't show us that scene, but I do love the joke here of them dancing, like Homelander dancing with Frenchie after he kills him. I bet you've never danced a day in your life, and then after he killed him, he had his first dance. There are also a couple questions that people had about the finale that they answer in this new trailer footage, like Ryan showing up. Like, what's Ryan going to do in the finale if he's supposed to be so powerful? Is he going to help? So at the beginning of the footage, they cut a voiceover from Butcher from a completely different scene with a scene of him walking into this meeting room with the rest of the surviving boys, making their plans to end all superheroes and Vought just in general. And as Butcher says, he wants to end the entire notion of superheroes, which is a reference to the virus, that it will potentially kill every superhero. But the worry previously is that there'd be a lot of collateral damage, like people like Ryan would die, regular humans might also die, Annie and Kimiko might also die, which is why Huey didn't want to use the virus, because all those extra people would be collateral damage. However, Butcher did not care, which is what they used the psychic scene last week for when they got captured, where he told Huey the story about Butcher when he was still in the CIA long before he had his run-in with both Becca and Homelander, like before that all went down.
Billy was the only member of the unit to walk out of there alive.
And even then, before Homelander did what he did, Butcher was already a really dark person deep down inside and got his whole squad killed just in the name of getting one person. Now that one person is Homelander, and it seems like from the trailer footage, he's willing to sacrifice anything and anybody to kill him. While they're doing this, they also cut to a scene to the Deep meeting with O-Father, then Homelander coming to meet them. This is meant to be at the White House, I believe. Both of them look terrified, like the Deep looks completely dejected because of the events of last week's episode, where he failed to save someone because he has now basically been banned from the water. The King of the Ocean banned from the oceans. Love the Samuel L. Jackson cameo scene where he basically told him if he stepped into a puddle anywhere, he was dead. O-Father also looks terrified at the sight of Homelander, who looks pissed off because of what happened with the focus groups. He told him to kill all those people they were focus testing because only 6 of 30 believed that he would be God when they were going to announce it, and they still seem like they plan on announcing it. Homelander did not want to wait for O-Father to work more of his magic, even though it seemed like he was actually being successful. It'd just take a lot more time before they could announce him as God. Mindspace Stillwell had also told him to kill all of the non-believers, which is 24 out of 6 people based on America's population. Do the math on that around the rest of the world and assume that even less of the rest of the international population outside of the United States would believe in him as God. So he's killing an even greater percentage of the world's population, potentially. Homelander's whole thing is throwing tantrums. He's done it a number of times across the series, but somebody has always stopped him, or like he's been crazy, but not that crazy enough to cross the line, so he stopped himself from killing a whole bunch of people. But there was also that one scene a couple seasons ago where he told Annie, fine, why don't we actually just play this out? And he told her how he would go about destroying the world. Probably one of the most gruesome and best thought out plans that Homelander had come up with, proving that he can be a smart person. Like, well, first I'll destroy all the communication centers, then eventually I'll just wipe New York off the map. But it kind of seems like the writers forgot about that speech. Like they're like, no, we're going to take Homelander in a different direction the next couple of seasons. So for a little while, Homelander just kept getting stupider and stupider until the Stillwell hallucination just told him, just flat out kill everybody who doesn't believe in you.
I mean, sure, I'll lose everything, but then I'll have nothing to lose.
So pretty easy assumption to make that Homelander will lose it on a bunch of innocent people during their celebration when they announce him as God, and that's going to be on live TV. So imagine he kills a whole bunch of people on live TV. He finally crosses the line. To be fair, Homelander has already crossed a lot of lines over this season. Like, how much worse could he be other than kill people on live TV? Like, that's the next step, is do a version of The Flight where he killed a bunch of people. Then the video was released and he almost lost it on people. Now he's just doing that again on live TV. Mother's Milk and Butcher grab a couple of crowbars and then go to the White House with Annie and everyone else that's still alive. This is also a reference to the comic book arc where Butcher is walking up to the White House lawn about to fight Homelander, who's flying above the White House with a whole bunch of other superheroes. There was a poster they released that was basically that comic book panel. So I don't know if that's just a mislead and we'll actually see that in an episode, because they said that they didn't have the budget to do like the crazy big comic book stuff that you expected them to do. So I'm just expecting a twist on that. We will see what they spent all their money on. We get a scene at what seems like the White House of Annie going after the Deep, so I'm kind of assuming that she winds up killing him during this scene, because also Chase Crawford, who plays the Deep, been a great actor over the Boys series. Like, the Deep himself has been a relatively great performance, even though they want you to hate the character, but that's the whole idea, is that you hate him a lot because Chase Crawford has been great at making you hate the Deep. He actually did an interview a little while ago where he said that his ending was meant to be a twist payoff on the scene with Annie during season 1 when he sexually abused her. Like, it'll be some fitting completion to his arc, which makes me think that she is going to wind up killing him in some sort of ironic way. There'll probably be a little bit of talk no jutsu, but she will actually physically kill him ultimately. And I think that the Deep is supposed to die. Like, he needs to die. He's needed to die for a long time now, so it's been crazy that they let him survive. There are very few characters that reject their redemption arc so many times that the Deep has across this series and actively work to make themselves a worse person. There's a real quick scene of Huey and Mother's Milk sneaking into the White House. Then we get a scene of Kimiko shedding a tear before they go into the White House. Like, this is probably before they roll out. Sad about Frenchie and ready to die in the service of killing Homelander. Like, she doesn't care at this point. Like, anything to kill Homelander. We get a new voiceover line from Butcher saying shock and awe, blood and bone, which is a reference to a speech that Homelander had with him at the beginning of season 3, where he said, what if we share a different fate? Something a little more shock and awe, blood and bone. Basically, Homelander saying, why don't we just burn this entire thing down, burn the world down and kill each other? So Butcher might be repeating that line to Homelander, like the speech might be given to Homelander where he talks about ending all superheroes.
Superheroes are done.
I also think the shock and awe, more spectacular blood and bone finale is a reference to Homelander losing it during whatever their celebration, their live TV broadcast is going to be, when he kills a whole bunch of innocent people too. While Butcher is doing the blood and bones speech, possibly to Homelander, they cut it with a scene of Homelander meeting with Ryan at the cabin that they went to during season 2. It's that same cabin that he kept going back to. The doppelganger would do those freaky scenes where she would turn into a version of Stillwell, and they would have this just weird stuff going on between the two of them. Not totally clear exactly how far they would take those things, but part of the beauty of those earlier seasons is that what you imagined that they were doing was always so much worse than what they could possibly write. The most degenerate stuff that Homelander could possibly think of. This is also the cabin they took Ryan to before he almost killed Stormfront, so like this is the same area from the end of The Boys season 2. Not totally clear what's happening between the two of them because he just beat him in a previous episode. Homelander also just locked up his own father in his cryo prison. There's also been a report that he's not going to be a big part of the finale either, like maybe a brief reference, but not really in the finale itself. The way that Eric Kripke talked about Soldier Boy scenes is that Jensen's final real big scene was when he referenced the Impala before Homelander put him back into cryo. Like, that was the last scene that they filmed with Jensen's character. So I'm assuming what that means is that there might be a post-credit scene with Soldier Boy in the finale, but he's not in the main part of the episode, which I think is hilarious, but in a bad kind of way, like not in the way that you want. In that Soldier Boy 8 most of the plot during season 5, and then he leaves before the bill is due, before it's time to pay the dinner bill. My assumption is that whatever post-credit scene he shows up for will have something to do with the Vought Rising prequel show, and everybody is probably going to complain about it, so just brace yourself for a lot of people being angry about Soldier Boy's plot during the finale. We get a new scene of Becca's tombstone. It's not clear who's there, if Butcher is visiting the tombstone, visiting the grave, or it's Ryan visiting the grave. We get a scene of O-Father fighting the boys inside the White House. Not clear if he winds up surviving the finale either. Daveed Diggs has also been a fantastic actor performance this season, so I would be totally fine if he winds up surviving in the finale. He's not been nearly as terrible as some of the other characters that definitely deserve to die. You can let me know if you think that O-Father is going to survive in the finale or if he'll be killed off too by the boys. We get a scene of Ashley running through some tunnels. I'm assuming these are tunnels leading out of the White House just because it seems like everybody is converging to fight on the White House, which is the way that the original comics went down to, like their big final battle happened inside the White House. I do think this implies that Ashley does survive the finale, like whatever happens to her, she doesn't get killed off. This would also imply that the superhero virus doesn't work on her if it does get used. Not that she's immune from it, just that she escapes being dosed with the virus. Butcher then pulls out the superhero virus, about ready to use it, as Huey gets into an elevator, not really sure where this elevator is. When Butcher says superheroes are done, someone lands on a beachfront here. It's not clear who this character is. Like, even if you freeze frame, you can't quite tell. So you can let me know if you think you can spot who this person is that's landing on the beach and what's happening in the context of this scene.
Are you sure?
My assumption is that whoever's landing on the beach here is towards the end of the episode, and it's like one of the people that winds up surviving the carnage of the finale. But there's also a lot of things that they don't put in this trailer, like a lot of questions that people have about a bunch of different storylines, like Sage, for instance, is nowhere in this trailer. So what happens to Sage after the end of the finale? What is going to happen to Ryan if they wind up using the superhero virus? Personally, I believe that Ryan, above all people, like there'll be a couple people that do survive the finale, Ryan is definitely going to be one of them. But if there are superheroes that survive the finale, the big question then is who still has their superpowers, because I wouldn't be surprised if they depower Homelander, then eventually kill him. But what about Ryan? Does Ryan still have his powers? Because of the way his biological powers work, he doesn't have compound V in his veins, and it is a compound V virus. So it might be a situation where Ryan is one of the only superheroes left on the planet after this, or one of the few superheroes left on the planet. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below and your theories for the finale, both good and bad. We will see how they wind up ending this, whether they land the plane successfully or they wind up crashing spectacularly. We will see if they release any more footage of the finale the next couple of days, but my full episode 8 video will post Wednesday after they release it, so be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. Everybody click here for that video. I'll update the link as soon as I post it, and click here for all my other Boys episodes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.